Hey y'all. So, I had a crazy day yesterday, and I just have to share it because heaven is rejoicing. Wow. It's so beautiful. I want to cry. It's so beautiful outside. Inspect the chair. Is she good? I sure hope so. Just a little dirty. Y'all. God is so good. Let me tell you about yesterday. Yesterday, me, Cohen, and Lauren went downtown to evangelize, and we were praying about it, like, where should we go? What should this theme be? Should we ask questions? They're doing construction. Sorry for the noise. And, we didn't get, like, any sense of direction. We were like, I don't know what we're supposed to do. And I was reminded of a time when we were in Madison, Wisconsin. And I was like, we had this one experience where we didn't talk to anybody because we were waiting for the right time. We were waiting for the right moment, the right detail, the right leading. And we never acted on anything because we thought we needed something. And then afterwards, I was like, dang, I really think we can talk to anybody and we don't need like a name. We don't need a person. We don't need to be directly led to somebody. Like, we just need to be bold. I was reminded of that. So I shared that with the group, and we prayed over it, and we prayed for boldness, and we talked to like some people, but then Lauren was like, let's talk to this guy. Just right as he was approaching and like walking down the street, stops him, and his first question is, are you a Muslim? And I'm not gonna lie, my first reaction on the inside was like, because it just didn't feel like a good question to start with, but nonetheless, you know, it was effective. And the guy was like, no. And then Lauren asked him if he's like any religion, and he was like, not really. Like, so he likes Americans. This guy likes Americans, and he had nothing like in his schedule. I don't know what he was doing downtown, but he was just, you know, walking around. And I felt like this instant, like, we have to ask him for coffee. So I said, like, can we buy you a coffee and sit down and talk? There was more to the conversation. I'm just shortening it up, okay? And this guy was like, yeah, okay. The culture is different here. They will just say yes and we'll go get a coffee. We sat down for almost like 2 hours with this guy, talking about Jesus, talking about his story. He's like culturally Muslim. He did try Islam for a while, but he thought it was really isolating. He personally found a lot of things wrong with Islam and the culture of it, like how the women are kind of treated, like the culture of having relationships with women, the stuff in the Quran about marrying, just things like that. He didn't find peace with it, didn't like it, and he stopped going. And he was so open to Jesus. It was in his eyes. You could look, like every time he would say something, he would look you in your eyes and he would just feed off of it. Like, you could tell he wanted it so bad. And he had good questions. He had good responses. And Cohen was like, have you ever like invited Jesus? And Cohen did such a good job at explaining like why Jesus is so important. Like, why do we pray to Jesus and not just God? And it's just acknowledging that like God is Jesus, like Jesus is God. Like, just Cohen did a phenomenal job explaining it, and he understood, and it was so amazing. And Cohen asked if he wanted to pray and invite Jesus into his life to like be revealed to him. And then Lauren led him in a prayer, and he accepted Jesus, and he said he felt peace, and it was so beautiful, and he loved it. And he said that it was a blessing, and he said that like you could just tell he needed this, and we needed this, and it was so beautiful. It was an amazing experience. It was so good. And he walked away and he was so happy, like so joyful. And he wants to go to church, and he wants to go meet the American owners of the cafe that are Christian. And it was just so good. And then we have been like kind of investing time into this one guy who's like a book vendor. And last night we met with him, and we didn't know this at the time, but he brought his brother. The one that sells books is an atheist. Like, he's like, I'm an atheist, no God. And his brother is like a new Christian. Like, he's like a baby Christian. We met him in what we later, and I say we as in like me, and Lauren and Courtney, like, we kind of later realized that it was a bar and lounge. So we were evangelizing in a bar. I thought it was just a cafe, but no. Yeah, I ended up talking to his brother, who's like the new Christian, and we were talking about like how to pray. We were talking about like, what does it mean to like live life with Jesus? Who is Jesus? Like, how can we relate to him? Talking about the humanity of Jesus, how Jesus had a body just like him, and like all of the temptations that he faces like are familiar to Jesus. Like, he did it. He did life just like him. We talked about my story. Like, I shared part of my story, and every so often we would kind of like tune in to what the others were talking about, and then we would return to our conversation, because I mean, the guy, he was an atheist, so like the conversation was kind of circular at times, because like, you know, when you have Cohen and an atheist talking, I mean, if you know, you know. And yeah, I mean, it was productive for them, but sometimes me and his brother would kind of just like return to talking. But it was so rewarding when I would say something to his brother, and then his brother would turn and be like, yeah, man, like, people choose evil. Like, when we don't choose God, we do evil things. It was like he was parroting what I was saying to him. I felt like so proud in the moment, because I was like, whoa, like, I'm literally watching this guy apply this to his life. And it was so long, and it was good. And then, like, towards the end of our evening, like, there's so much more to the story, by the way. Like, we talked for a long time over so many different things, but I'm kind of just trying to highlight. And we kind of reached this point, and I was like, have you ever experienced anything supernatural? Like, anything that can't be explained? And I was like, can I share a story with you? So I shared a story about how I was in a car accident and I was hit by a drunk driver, and like how for some reason, like, my body was full of adrenaline, and I was crying and I was hysterical, but for some reason in my spirit I felt peace, and there was a voice in my head saying like, pray for him, pray for him, pray for him. And I told him the story about how I prayed for this man that hit us, and how when I was like in the hospital and when I was getting tested and stuff, like, I couldn't stop crying. My body was just like in shock, but for some reason the verses like, the Lord is my shepherd, he makes me lie down in green pastures, it was like over and over and over again in my head, and I was like, I felt the presence of God. And he was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean they felt the presence of God? And I was like, I felt peace. And his brother, the Christian, was like smiling, and then him, like the atheist, there was something in his eyes. Something. I don't know what it is. There was something in his eyes. And as soon as I finished telling the story, he picks up his phone and he goes, we need to go. And Cullen and Lauren, and I think Courtney too, were like, we knew that was going to be the last story. Something was telling us that was going to be it for the night. And we did like still talk on the way back to the bus stop, and as we waited for the bus, but yeah, I mean, he didn't like give his life to Jesus, but like, I got to pour into like a new Christian's life and like talk about prayer and overcoming like just sins or like strongholds and stuff. I even got to explain like some of the spiritual realm. It's crazy. And we just got to plant so many seeds, and we were just pouring truth, so much truth. And I really think that this can be like transformational, and I really, really hope that his brother, the new Christian, is able to pour into his life. They're very contrasting people, like strong Jesus lover, strong atheist, and I really think there's going to be a change. And I'm so eager. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to see it ever in my lifetime, but I'm so eager to like, just, I don't know, not see it, but I just know that something is gonna happen. I've been talking for too long. I don't like long videos because they take forever to download, but this was so worth it. So yeah, crazy story, phenomenal. God is so good. And with that, GoPro, stop recording.